Alan Jackson is an American country star, best known for the unique way he blends honky-tonk and mainstream country sounds together to create a style that is typically referred to as neotraditional music. He's one of the best-selling musical artists of all time. Some of his biggest career hits include the songs Chattahoochee, Livin on Love, The Older I Get, and Midnight in Montgomery. Throughout his career, he's sold more than 75 million records globally. More than half of those record sales were in the U.S. alone. Jackson was inducted into the Georgia Music Hall of Fame in 2001, and he's also a member of the Grand Ole Opry. In 2017, he was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame, and a year later, admitted into the Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame. Jackson is 62 years old and still very active in the music industry. But in 2021, he made a rather startling announcement on the Today Show regarding his health. Keep watching to see what he had to say and what his prognosis looks like currently. Alan's announcement. Jackson recently gave an exclusive interview to Jenna Bush Hager of the Today Show. In that conversation, he revealed he's been diagnosed with Charcot-Marie tooth disease, an uncommon degenerative nerve condition. Jackson spoke to Jenna via telelink from the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum in Nashville. He opened up about living with the condition and how it's impacted his ability to walk. Jackson further revealed he was diagnosed with CMT about a decade ago. The disease is both neuropathic and neurological in nature. Jackson also indicated he had inherited the genetically linked disease from his father. Currently, there's no known cure for CMT, and as time goes on, his symptoms will only continue to get worse. Jackson told Jenna that dealing with the condition has become more obvious and troubling as time has gone by. He struggles to walk without stumbling, and now his balance is starting to be affected as well. CMT affects the peripheral nervous system and causes problems with balance by compromising smaller and weaker muscles located in the extremities of the body. While it can be debilitating and wildly uncomfortable, it does not alter one's life expectancy. CMT is related to other disorders like muscular dystrophy and Parkinson's disease, but unlike the latter, it's not known to be deadly. According to the National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Stroke, it can be managed with supportive therapy. But even so, it's a struggle Jackson will have to deal with for the remainder of his life. At the moment, Jackson doesn't plan to put his career on hold because of the diagnosis. He's a fighter and he's dedicated to his craft. Jackson told Jenna he has no intentions of doing a big, elaborate retirement tour like so many other artists have done, only to take a year off and come back. He described that as being cheesy and reassured his fans he still plans to tour as much as possible. Jackson has always put his family first, and they've been right there beside him to lend support when he needs it. Let's take a moment to look at his family life. Jackson married his high school sweetheart. Alan Jackson and his wife Denise Jackson have been married for 41 years, but their journey together has had its fair share of difficulties. Of course, there have been good times and bad. Tears, mistakes, and betrayal have been a part of their story, but regardless of how difficult things got, Denise and Alan never let their flame dim. Their story starts like many others. Alan met Denise back when they were both still teenagers, attending Newman High School in Georgia. The first time Alan asked Denise out, she turned him down. But a couple of years later, he worked up the courage to ask her out again, and this time she said yes. On their first date, he took her out for a drive in his white Thunderbird convertible, and they went on many more dates together. In 1979, they were married. A few years later, they moved to Nashville so Alan could pursue his dream of becoming a country music star. He got a job in a mailroom to support him and his wife, and at night he would go out to town to play music. Denise worked as a flight attendant. One day she ran into singer-songwriter Glenn Campbell at the airport. After approaching him and telling him about her husband's aspirations of being a country music artist, Campbell gave Denise his business card. Seemingly overnight, Alan was signed to his first record deal. Alan released his first album, Here in the Real World, in 1991. It was immensely successful and went on to sell over 2 million copies. That same year, Denise gave birth to their first daughter, Maddie. 3 years later, they welcomed another baby girl, Alexandra Jane, into the world. In 1997, they celebrated the birth of their third daughter, Danny Grace. Alan's career continued to flourish, and with that came great fame and fortune. He built a huge plantation-style mansion for his family, but although everything looked pretty magical on the outside, in reality, things were crumbling inside. In 1997, Alan and Denise made the shocking announcement they had separated. In her 2007 memoir, It's All About Him, Finding the Love of My Life, Denise revealed it was Alan's infidelity that led them to separate. While their separation and the circumstances that led to it were difficult on both of them, Denise found a renewed connection and commitment to God and her Christian life while apart from her husband. They then went to marital counseling together and reconciled about a year later. Alan and Denise have been together ever since, but it hasn't always been smooth sailing. Alan had to make major changes in his life to maintain the peace. While their marriage is far from perfect, they put in the footwork required to keep it going and rely upon open, honest communication. Father of 3. Alan Jackson raised his 3 children at the height of his career, but his dedication to his daughters has never faltered, despite his diagnosis. Maddie Denise Jackson, Alan's first child, was born in 1990. While she hasn't become a country star like her father, she's still found success in life. After graduating from the University of Tennessee in 2012, she co-founded an organization called Nashville, which seeks to celebrate sisterhood and give back orphans, widows, and victims of human trafficking. She's also the host of the She's in the City podcast while operating a blog of the same name. In 2017, Maddie got married to her husband, Samuel Ben Selectman. Sadly, Samuel, who worked as an assistant district attorney, was killed in September 2018 after a traumatic injury sustained from falling off a boat dock. Alexandra Allie Jane Jackson, Alan's second daughter, was born in 1993. Unlike her sister Maddie, Allie tries her best to stay out of the spotlight. She married her husband, Sam Bradshaw, in July of 2018 and shared several pictures from her big day on Instagram. She's also been featured on her sister's social media pages on several occasions, but beyond that, she prefers to keep her life fairly private. His third daughter, Danny Grace Jackson, was born in 1997. Like Allie, Danny also prefers to keep the majority of her personal life outside the public eye. Her Instagram is set to private, but it looks like she hasn't made any posts, so perhaps she has another account. Alan released his 21st studio album, Where Have You Gone, on May 14th, 2021. And although he's currently on tour, he does have an upcoming show in Nashville on October 8th. Now it's time to hear from you. What's your favorite Alan Jackson song or album? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.